Hi, class. So I wanted to talk to you guys about the Julius Caesar leadership short essay assignment. This essay assignment is going to be basically 4 paragraphs long. So it's kind of like 2 constructed responses, but with an introduction and conclusion as well. And you have the rest of the week to complete it. This is going to be your final assignment for 410th literature. All right. So basically what you guys are going to do is you are going to answer the question, who do you think would be the best leader for Rome and why? Think about Cassius, think about Caesar, think about Antony, and then finally Brutus. Those are typically the 4 characters that, students will choose one of those 4 and just kind of explain why they think that particular character would be the best leader for Rome and why. Now, you might think none of these guys are great leaders, and that's true that all of them do have some leadership flaws, right? None of them are perfect. But a leader doesn't have to be perfect. So again, you're just kind of choosing the best character in your opinion and then explaining why you think that. So basically what you are going to do, okay, is you're going to have an introduction, you're going to have 2 body paragraphs, and you're going to have a conclusion. That's why it's called a short essay, because it's not a full 5-paragraph essay. I didn't think that was fair to you guys since, we have about a week left. And I want this to be really thoughtful and well thought out. So in your introduction, you're going to maybe start your essay by asking a question about leadership, like, what makes somebody a good leader, okay? And then you're going to very briefly explain what makes someone a good leader. I'm only looking for maybe 1 or 2 sentences for that. Then you're going to explain why each character that you did not choose would not be a good leader for Rome. Okay, so basically, if you choose Julius Caesar, to be the best leader, if you think he was the best choice, you're going to have 1 sentence where you explain why Brutus was a flawed leader. You're going to have another sentence that explains why Antony was a flawed leader, and then finally, you'll do the same with Cassius. So again, you're just kind of eliminating your options and explaining why the 3 that you did not choose would not make great leaders. What were their main flaws, leadership flaws? And then you're going to essentially state, you're going to end your introduction with your thesis statement, which is going to state who would be the best leader for Rome and why. I'm kind of leaving that open to interpretation because there's not really time for me to look at your thesis and get back to you on what a good thesis looks like. So just kind of think about, make sure that you explain who would be the best leader, okay, and then why you think that. You can include your 2 specific reasons if you would like, or if you want just an overarching reason why your character would be the best leader, that's fine as well. So as long as you explain who would be the best leader and why you think that, that's 100% fine. It may be easier to outline your 2 specific, quality traits or reasons for choosing your specific leader, because that might be easier to structure your essay that way. But again, it's up to you. So then you are going to have 2 body paragraphs, okay? So again, this is kind of, think of these as like constructed responses like you guys have been doing all along, but you'll probably add a little bit more explanation to them. So you're going to include a minimum of 2 distinct reasons or leadership qualities that prove your thesis, which are going to be your 2 body paragraphs. So make sure that you have clear topic sentences that explain why you chose the character would be a good leader. Don't forget about including good transitions. You'll use a minimum of 2 direct quotes from the play, from the original text. So make sure that you're not quoting from the modern version. Make sure that you thoroughly explain how the quotes support your thesis. So in other words, you're going to be saying what the quote shows about the leadership style of the character that you chose, and explaining what this shows about him as a leader, why he would be the best leader. Okay, so you're explaining what it shows about that character. You should have at least 2 to 3 sentences of analysis per quote, explaining what it shows about the character's leadership abilities. Make sure that that's at least 2 full lines. So like if you have 3 really, really short sentences, that's not going to be 2 full lines. And then of course, don't forget about transitions between paragraphs. Your conclusion, you're going to restate your thesis, then you're going to explain your personal definition of leadership. Make sure you include some specific characteristics and qualities of good leaders, how the character you chose kind of fits into that personal definition of leadership, and really thoroughly explain why they are the best choice in your opinion, okay? Now, in your conclusion, obviously, you are going to be explaining your personal definition of leadership, so you can use I, right? Throughout most of your essay, you want to try to stay away from using I, me, we, our, right? Anything that includes the self. But in your conclusion, you have my permission, and really you should use I, use the first person pronoun. I would also try to stay away from using you and your, just because that's considered informal. I wanted to go ahead and show you how to quote the text correctly. So in the text, Caesar says, Cassius has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much. Such men are dangerous. If you guys want to at least include the act and scene number in parentheses, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell the exact line number. If you wanted to also put a comma, line, numbers, whatever, you could do that as well. But if you just tell me at least what scene and what act it's from, that way I know, generally where you are quoting from. So you need to make sure you introduce the quote. Okay, so notice I say who is talking here. All right. Any words that are from the original text should be in quotation marks. So make sure, there's a quotation mark here and a quotation mark here. So make sure that you are showing what you're quoting. And guys, I'm going to say that quotes should not be longer than 2 lines, 2 full lines. And the reason for this is I don't want your quotes to take up, too much of your paper. Like, I want most of your paper to be in your own words explaining why the character you chose is a good leader. So notice that this quote that I chose is just like a line long. Okay, so if you wanted a quote that was like twice that long, that's fine, but don't make it longer than 2 full lines. Okay. Act and scene information should follow in the parentheses, so just like it is right there. Okay. And then make sure that the period should follow the closed parentheses. Notice there's no period here. There's a period right here. So that's the end of your sentence. That's just a small kind of grammar thing. So your final paper would be 12-point double spaced. It's, Times New Roman 12-point font is the standard font. And then it needs to be at least 500 words. So 500 words is about 2 pages. Okay. I think that if you are really thoroughly explaining your quotes and kind of following the format that I gave you, I think that you'll kind of naturally get to that 500 word count. If you want to add a 5th paragraph, so like a 3rd body paragraph, to be able to get to that 500 word limit, you can, or requirement, you can. But I would suggest you start with a 4 paragraphs introduction to body paragraphs and conclusion, and hopefully you'll get to that 500 word count. I'm including the MLA format in that word count, so your word count may be actually closer to 475 or something like that. But anyway, 500 words is what your final paper should be. Make sure that you use MLA format for the heading and the layout. I will be posting a video on how to do that. And also make sure that you spell check, right? Make sure you go back over your grammar, make sure that everything is sort of correct, okay, to the best of your ability. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the rubric for how you're being graded. Your introduction and conclusion is worth at least 20% of your grade. So that's where you're explaining what a good leadership, in your introduction, you explain what good leadership is and then the leadership flaws. The conclusion, of course, you're restating your argument and then explaining why your character is a good leader based on your personal definition of leadership. Okay. You're getting 20% on the organization, so that comes down to your body paragraph and your thesis statement. The body paragraphs, of course, you need to have good transitions with clear topic sentences, and those you're stating, like one reason why Brutus is the best leader is because, and you're explaining what that looks like. Make sure that your topic sentences are argumentative, right? They should be giving a clear argument for why the character that you chose is the best leader. The thesis should be clear. It should be in one sentence. And again, it's stating who would be the best leader and why. It should be at the end of your introduction. So for the evidence, remember you're only having 2 body paragraphs. So it's going to be a total of probably 4 quotes unless you choose to do a 3rd body paragraph just to add some length to your paper, which you can do as well. But each body paragraph should have 2 quotes that are from the Julius Caesar original text. Make sure that they're formatted correctly, like I showed you on the other paper, and that they prove your argument. For each quote, you should have 2 to 3 sentences of analysis that really thoroughly shows how your evidence proves your argument. And in that, again, you're going to be stating what this shows about your particular character that you chose and their leadership style, why it proves that they are the best leader. Explain what it shows or demonstrates. It should be 2 full lines of analysis per quote minimum. All right, then MLA format and grammar is worth the last 20%. So make sure you have proper MLA format. Watch that YouTube video that's really short where I'll show you how to do that. And then make sure you have minimal grammar errors with no informal language. And again, informal language, that's the first person pronouns, I, me, we, our, you and yours, second person. And then, that you get rid of any contractions like can't, don't, it should be cannot, do not. So that's the informal language I'm talking about. Again, in your conclusion, you will have first person pronouns, but that's really the only place where that should be. So make sure if you guys have any questions about this short essay, you can let me know. You're going to have the entire week to do it. So you're not going to have any other assignments, just finishing up your Act 3 work and then doing this short essay assignment. And then you are done with the class. So that is the last assignment for this class. If you have any questions about this essay, please let me know. Once you are done writing it, make sure that you do hit that 500 word count. If you're not quite there yet, again, you can also add a third body paragraph, with more text evidence, explaining why you chose the leader that you did. But I'm hoping that 4 paragraphs, you should be able to get to that 500 word count, especially with your MLA format counting towards that. Make sure you email me if you have any questions, and I look forward to reading these essays on who you guys think is the best leader in Julius Caesar and why you think that's supported with text evidence. All right, guys, thanks.